The reason most guys can't stick with their diet or their workout plan has less to do with discipline and a whole lot more to do with how you see yourself. It's hard to make healthy decisions if you think and operate like an unhealthy person. In this video, we're going to look at identity and how it affects so much. It affects how you show up for yourself or don't. We're going to look at habits and how they affect your identity. And we're going to give you an exercise so you can chip away at your old identity and create a new one, the healthier you, the sexier you. No, that's not going to work. We're not going to say that. The you 2.0. For those who don't know, my name is Dan. I work with busy dads who are trying to work on their fitness. And this is one of the things that gets in the way more often than not. This idea of I am this person, therefore I act this way. How do we change that? For a long time, I was obsessed with being the most knowledgeable guy when it came to fitness stuff. So I would do a lot of research. I would, look at articles. I would find the influencers out there who seemed to know what they were talking about, learn all I could from them. And all it really got me was, some ego stuff, really, because I wasn't actually implementing anything. Now, if I look at my Instagram, I have actually thousands of saved videos, clips, whatever, of this exercise, that program, this person's ideas. And it doesn't really do anything if it's not implemented. So I had the identity of someone who knew so much, but I didn't have the body of someone who did so much. Like knowing and doing are not the same thing. I had to become someone who did stuff. I had to become someone who did the work that I was learning about. The things I am doing right now, the habits I have, the way I'm living is the way that someone in my physical place lives and acts. So discipline is obviously very important. Doing your exercise, eating the right foods, all this is so important if you want to change yourself physically. But the identity is sort of the underlying thing that has a more, like, it's intangible, but it has a bigger impact on whether you're going to have success or not. Your identity is how you see yourself, but it's also how you act. Your identity is built on the back of many habits that you have, the way that you act, the way that you show up every day. This is going to make you into the person that you are. You become your habits. If you want to change who you are, you got to change the things that you do. Now, I'm going to do my best not to just quote James Clear through this whole video. If you've ever read the book Atomic Habits, it's a great place to start if you're trying to learn about this stuff. I'm going to give you a few quotes from him, and then we're going to see what we can do about all this identity stuff. Every action you take is a vote for the kind of person you want to be. So if you continue down the same road, you're going to do the same actions. You already know the person you're going to become doing these things. You are that person. So if you want to be someone else, you have to start implementing different actions, different habits, things that might not be so obvious or might not be so easy, but it's the only way to make some long-term change and get that identity to shift. There's something called the identity habit loop, where you start to implement a new habit and that affects your current identity. You identify as someone who does this thing. And when you have a new identity, that dictates what kind of habits you're going to take on. And those habits are going to be more related to the guy who does these things. And then since you're doing more of those habits, you become more like that guy. And because you're doing more of those habits and you become more like that guy's going to do more of those things that are those kinds of habits. And it's self-feeding, which is amazing because it makes it easier once you're in a thing and becoming that person. It's easier to get yourself pulled further into that person you're trying to become. So what identity are you trying to put on? Are you trying to be someone who is healthier? Are you trying to be someone who maybe lives a life at 30 pounds less than you currently do? Maybe it's someone with more energy, who can show up more for their kids, who can play soccer without being winded, whatever it is. We want to start to implement the habits of this version of ourselves we're trying to be. So here's the exercises I want you to consider. And it sounds a little bit crazy, and maybe it is, but whatever. It does work if you lean into it. So let me just explain. I want you to have a conversation with you 5 years down the road. And this you down the road 5 years has solved the physical health things, the transformational things that you are trying to do right now. They sorted it out. They've figured it out. If you had a fake mock conversation with this person, and yes, it's getting a little weird, but you had a conversation with them and asked them, hey, what habits do you have that got you there? What would they tell you? And write that down. You can imagine what they would be, right? So someone who's you down the road, let's hypothetically say it's you, but you weigh 30 pounds less, whatever. Okay, what kinds of things have you done to get there? Some of them are going to be really obvious. Most likely some kind of monitoring food intake, most likely some kind of exercise, most likely not beating themselves up every time they had a setback. Most likely they've been able to navigate going to family parties without having a complete blowout. These are some options for some things they might have a pretty good amount of habits around. Now, keep in mind, you're talking to yourself, and I want you to think about this. You already know what you need to do, right? You're looking, potentially we're all looking for an easier option, but we all know what we need to do. Just need to actually say it out loud and then start doing it. So now what? You've talked to yourself from the future. They gave you some advice. How do you implement that? I would suggest starting with one habit that you want to start to add into your life. Let's say I'm going to implement some kind of exercise into my life. That's the habit number one I want to instill. Every day that you show up and do something exercise related, that's a win. That's one small reinforcement of this new identity that you're trying to put on. The win is showing up, right? So keep that in mind. There's a lot of times when you don't feel great. Maybe you don't want to exercise. Maybe, there are lots of reasons why you might not want to. But showing up, it's not about having the perfect workout. It's about showing up and having a workout, or going for a walk, or doing 5 push-ups, whatever it is. You just showed up and did something. That's a vote for this person you're trying to become. That's one small chink in the current identity and a small gain towards that future identity. So as long as we continue to show up and we reinforce that cycle, this habit means I'm more like this. Creating evidence that you're becoming this person. The more evidence that stacks, the more likely you become that person. In this habit, this first one, this exercise thing is going to become easy. It's going to become a habit. It's going to be something you automatically do. Once it happens, let's throw another one in there. Let's start looking at our food. Let's start looking at how to deal with bad days, whatever it is. We stack them. Eventually, this person becomes inevitable that you're trying to become. I'm pointing this way, but this you 2.0 becomes inevitable, becomes who you are. This is when it becomes easy. I should say easier. There's still days when it's hard, but when you are a person, when that is what you are in your essence, it's much easier to be that than trying to be somebody else. So if you want to become this, you gotta do the work to become it. And that's the habits. It doesn't have to be this huge change. It can be small changes, and they stack. If you've made it this far, it means you're at least open to this concept. If you need help with this, I do one-on-one coaching. I have a couple spots available still. If that's something that you're interested in, there'll be links below to figure out how to get in touch with me. If you're trying to break out of this old version of yourself, if you're trying to make positive change, this is the channel for you. I'll continue to be posting on a weekly basis videos related to this. How do we better ourselves in different ways? If that's up your alley, please subscribe. Love to hang out. Love to talk to you more. Whatever you do, don't stay stuck. Keep showing up.